Testing, 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 testing. Okay, so I think we're now live. Dr. Travel,
Yes.
welcome. How'd you say your name again?
My name is Saveh.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And is there a reason why you're called Dr. Travel?
Yes, I was finishing my PhD in chemistry this year, and so I came up with the name Dr. Travel.
Okay. So here's the thing. We're going to have this. This is not an interview. I always tell people on my channel that this is, I don't conduct interviews. I have conversations with people, right? This is real talk with Obi. So in this discussion, we're going to talk about your story about you getting drugged with scopolamine and then robbed. I'm going to be asking you a series of questions, but first of all, I want to hear your story. And then also I'm going to be digging deep, asking you questions that some people, that you didn't cover in your own YouTube video. It was all kind of like patched together, edited, and some people, may think that your story is not real or disingenuous, or they just may want further detail. Anyway, people say I talk a lot and I interrupt a lot when I'm speaking, right? Having these discussions. They're here to listen to your story. So let's get started. First of all, what were you doing in Medellin? Why did you come to Medellin?
So I was on a Central America trip, and it's the first time that I'm here in this region of the world. And I also wanted to see some parts of South America. So I started to travel 4 months ago. I started in Cancun, Mexico, and then I went south to Costa Rica. And my last stop was actually Nicaragua, but then I went back to San Jose in Costa Rica, and from there I took a plane to Medellin. Yeah.
Okay, and what made you decide to come to Medellin?
During my Central America trip, I was meeting a lot of other travelers that were in South America before, and they only talked good about Medellin and about the nightlife here and the people here. And I wanted to travel to Colombia anyways, so I thought Medellin would be a good first stop.
Okay, so what do you have to say to people who say that you came to Medellin as a sexual tourist, that you came here to look for women, essentially? Because that's what many, you
Yes.
know, um, men are doing
Mm.
here in Colombia. They come in here for sexual tourism. What do you have to say to that?
I wouldn't say that I'm a sexual tourist because I'm a traveler. I would say I'm a traveler, and I started off my YouTube channel as a travel channel, obviously. So I was on a travel, like a journey through Central and South America, and I didn't came here specifically to have sex or for the girls. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into it right now. Tell us, to the viewers, the people listening, tell us exactly what happened. And to the viewers listening, I will at some points be interrupting and probing for further details. But what happened?
So I arrived here in Medellin on the 17th of December, and the whole robbery happened on the 19th of December, in the night from the 19th to the 20th. So I was quite new here in the town, and I didn't know anyone here, and I stayed at a hostel which was not too social. It's a fine place, but there weren't a lot of other travelers around. So I decided on the 19th of December to go to the Masaya hostel, which is like a common place here for travelers. And I was on the rooftop um, talking to other people, and we were drinking a bit, like having fun. And at some point, they decided to go to a bar, but I was not really into the mood of drinking on that night. So I was on my phone using dating apps, and
What dating app did you use?
um, I had Actually, three dating apps, different dating apps installed. But I on that night I used Tinder, and I was talking to some matches, and one of the matches was this girl who robbed me in the end. So I was chatting with her, and she told me she's with a friend at home in her apartment, and they wanted to cook something and watch a movie, and invited me basically to join. And for me, it sounded like a nice invitation and a nice chance to meet local people here and make friends or connections.
Okay, so that's why you actually, you know, agreed to, going over to her place, or, because you.
Yes, so I didn't know a lot of people here. Just I made just a few, or I just had a few conversations on the rooftop of the Messiah hostel, but not really. I didn't make friends, let's say. And also, before, when I was in Central America, I used these dating apps to make connections to other travelers or local people. And yeah, so I came here and did the same I was used to, let's say. Yeah.
Okay, so did you do any research about Colombia and what's happening with the druggings, rubbings, and even recent murders before you traveled here to Colombia, into Medellin?
Unfortunately, I didn't, because I mean, I know from back home that it's potentially dangerous in South America, but I heard the same about Central America. And during my trip, I was a bit surprised that it was safer than I expected. I was vlogging a lot, like walking around with my phone on a selfie stick, and I was never robbed or never felt in danger. So maybe I came here with the thought that it would be the same as in Central America.
Okay. So now going back to your story, when you were conversating with this woman on Tinder, did you exchange numbers at any point?
No, it
So,
was like exclusively on the Tinder app.
okay. And what was the conversation like? What do you remember anything specific about the messages that she sent you that sounded suspicious or in hindsight?
To be honest, not really. It was not, we were not talking in a sexual way. There was no word about having sex or something. It felt quite nice and open, and I thought, okay, it's a good chance to meet people and see what is gonna happen. And no, I don't remember something suspicious. I mean, she said that she's with a friend, and to me it sounded even less suspicious, because maybe it would be a bit weird when she would be alone and invited me to her apartment. But since she was with a friend, it was more like a gave me a chilled mood or atmosphere, and I thought it's nice to hang around with people, you know? Yeah.
Okay. So you then agreed to meet. Where do you remember where you agreed to meet? Was it in the safe zone?
No, it was at her apartment. She sent me her address, and it is. I still have the address, but I don't remember now. Um, it was like 10 or 15 minutes away from El Poblado, which is a typical touristic area here in Medellin. So I just ordered an Uber and went to the apartment.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you got to the apartment, just run us through what happened from when she opened up the door to you to the minute where you woke up.
Yeah.
So what happened when you got to the apartment?
So first of all, it was at 8:30 on the 19th of December when I arrived there, because I still have the receipt of Uber in my email account. When I arrived there, I was already a little bit drunk since I was drinking on this rooftop, but it was more like a tipsy way of being drunk. And when I arrived there, I went to the apartment, and it had 2 or 3 floors, and I saw this girl on her balcony. She was looking at me and like invited me to come up, and then she went down the stairs and opened me the door.
Okay, what does she look like?
Mm, she was a Colombian girl, so she had darker skin, and she was about 160 meters height, or her height was 160 around, I would say, and she had like a mother's mark on her throat,
Birthmark.
like a birthmark on her throat. I don't remember if it was the left or the right side, but it was quite big, but not how do you say?
It wasn't significant. You couldn't. It wasn't prominent.
Yeah, it was like a light
Yeah.
dark.
Yeah.
And she was wearing a Christmas hat with deer horns. Like, yeah.
Did she have any tattoos?
Yes, she had a tattoo on her right shoulder, like on the back of her shoulder, and I think some tattoos on her arms, but I don't really remember it.
So you expect the audience, because I've seen some of the comments. You're 29 going on 30, right? Do you expect the audience to believe that you strictly went to visit that girl because you wanted to, taste her cooking or hang out with her, just relax, chill out? She's essentially a stranger and you don't know who she is. Would you have done the same thing in your country or anywhere else in the world?
I would say yes. I mean, yeah, it is kind of open, and maybe not that common that people invite you to your home. But since she was not alone, it didn't felt that suspicious in this moment. And as I said before,
So,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt, and I know the audience are going to get mad. Do you find it normal for a woman, the first time she ever lays eyes on you, do you find it a normal thing for her to invite you back to her house? I know you're good looking.
Thank you.
But is that a normal thing in your world? It's not normal in my world.
No, probably not. But since I heard also online or in the internet that Colombian girls are like quite happy to meet foreigners, I thought it's maybe normal here. Or I mean, I made a lot of connections also in Central America. Maybe they didn't invite me straight away to their apartment, but in this moment it didn't felt suspicious to me. I was quite happy to have the chance to meet these girls and see what happens. And yeah, it sounded like a good opportunity to make connections.
Okay, so let's continue. You said she then invited you to come up to the apartment.
Yes.
When you got into the apartment, what did it look like? How was the atmosphere? What did it feel? How were they with you?
So I was walking into the apartment straight into the living room. There was a big gray couch and a TV on the wall and the kitchen. In the retro perspective, it looked a bit empty. There were not a lot like of personal items in the living room. It was quite new and clean.
So, did you get the feeling that she lived in that apartment?
I mean, everyone is living differently, so yeah. Now I would say no. It's quite obvious that they didn't live there, but they had some stuff around some food and drinks in the kitchen. So in this moment when I arrived in the living room, I wasn't doubting it that they or she is living there. Yeah.
Okay, and then what happened next?
Um, we turned on the TV to listen to some music, and we were sitting on the couch and just having a conversation. And yeah, she was not alone. She was with her friend, and she told me that she has a hair salon, and she was like making the hair of her friend, and I was sitting next to them, and we just had a conversation, like we were talking normally. And at some point, they asked me if I want to drink something, and I said, "Yeah, why not?" And they came back with like 3 beers. They were closed, and we were drinking a beer, continue listening to music and talking. Yeah.
Okay. And at any point, was there any flirtatiousness or sexualized conversations
Mm, mm,
or overly being friendly to you? Mi amor,
yeah, maybe.
baby.
Yeah, maybe they probably said something like "baby" or "mi amor." Yeah, I remember that. So there, mm, I'm not a really how do you say? I'm not a guy that is approaching a lot, so I'm more chill. But they seem quite open and flirty in a way, yes. Um, but it was quite early in the night, so we were talking. Nothing happened, and yeah, we were. They also wanted to smoke on the balcony, so at some point we went to the balcony, listened to music, talking. Yeah,
Okay. And at this point, everything felt normal, everything felt fine.
yeah. It felt like a little party at their apartment, and oh yeah, now I remember they also wanted to order more alcohol, and it was a bit weird because I mean, back at home we have something like Uber Eats or different kind of applications where you can order food or drink to your home. I think here it's called Rappi. Um, but they asked me to provide my phone to order some drinks, and I, yeah, I gave them my phone, and they ordered. I think what was it? Maybe a small bottle of vodka or whiskey. I don't remember, with some soft drinks. I still have the receipt, and since I was invited, I, yeah, wanted to give them something back. So it was okay, and it was not that expensive. So they ordered the stuff with my phone. And after a while, this Rappi guy also arrived, and they took the alcohol, and like they grabbed it. And then there was the moment where they prepared a pink big glass of a soft drink in their kitchen. But I was sitting at the couch, so I didn't really let's say observe them by preparing the drink. And yeah, they offered me a big glass of a pink soft drink, and I took a few sips, or like we chin-chinned together, and I was drinking a few sips, and it was quite sweet. Not really my taste, because I don't like if drinks are too sweet, but as I remember, it was pretty sweet. And yeah, there was definitely also alcohol in it, but I mostly tasted the sweetness. And yeah.
Okay. So at this point, what time or how long had you been in the apartment, right? At this point, at the point in which they offered you this sweet pink drink.
I would say 1 hour.
So you've been there for an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. And so after you took this, you took a few sips of this drink, at what point did you start feeling any effects? What did you feel?
I remember that when we were drinking the glass of the pink soft drink, she asked me if we want to play Truth or Dare, which is like a funny game. I think most of the people know it. And I accepted. I said, yeah, why not? But I don't remember actually the first question. But it like when I lost my consciousness, it was maybe after the first or the second question. So it happened quite fast. I was drinking like a few sips, not the whole glass. But then it happened quite fast. I don't remember a lot. It's like a blackout or like you pass away.
So, like,
Yeah.
if you can try and articulate it in as the best words as possible for our audience, because some people, they want to know, what does it feel like to get drugged with scopolamine? What do they, how did you not feel it creeping into your system?
No, I would say it was very fast. So while I was drinking, I felt nothing, but then after a few sips, it came right away, the effect. It's like someone knocks you out. It's like your view is just collapsing. And
so everything just faded to black.
Yeah.
It wasn't a gradual thing where you were feeling drowsy.
No.
Okay. And when that happened, you were out cold, obviously, right? You were out cold. You didn't know what was happening with you.
Yeah.
Where did you wake up?
I woke up in the apartment.
So you were still in the apartment?
I was still in the apartment, and I was not in the living room anymore. I was in the bedroom.
Did you have your clothes on?
Yes. Everything was how I arrived there. I have to say, it's when I woke up, it was still I felt like heavily drunk. I didn't have any orientation. It was difficult to tell what exactly I did when I woke up. But what I remember is I woke up in the bed. I was looking for my wallet and my phone, and I noticed that my wallet is still there, but my phone was like lost. And I looked into my wallet and noticed that my bank card was gone. And then I stood up and went to the living room, and there I found my bag, because I went there with a bag. I have a music box, so I thought, okay, when I go to the apartment, it would be nice to have a music box with me. It was still there, and I also had a charger for my phone in the apartment, because I had quite low battery when I arrived there. So yeah, I was also charging my phone there, but yeah, the phone was gone. The charger was still in the plug, and I grabbed my stuff, tried to find my stuff, but I think in this moment it was also clear to me that they stole or robbed me. And then I made my way out of the apartment, but I don't really remember like how. But I mean, it was not a tall or huge apartment, so I probably just went out and went down to the street.
Okay, what time of the day was this? Was it in the next morning?
In the next morning, well, it was definitely bright outside. I'm not really sure when exactly I woke up, but I would assume around 9 or 10 a.m. So I slept quite a long time. It was definitely bright outside. It was the next morning. And when I walked out on the street, I still remember that there was a man standing on the street and talking to me. He said something like, "Dude, I think you got drugged and robbed."
Did he say that in English or
In
Spanish?
English, in
In
English.
English.
But as far as I remember, it was a Colombian guy. It was not a foreigner or tourist. So at this point, I was still feeling really exhausted, and it's like, I would say the scopolamine also deletes your memory, so it's very blurry what I remember from this time. But I definitely remember that I was meeting this man on the street, and he said something like that, and he was ordering a taxi for me. And then he sat me in the taxi, and I was driving straight back to my hostel.
How were you able to pay for the taxi?
I think I didn't pay for the taxi. I think the guy paid for it, which is kind of strange. But in this situation, I just wanted to go back to my hostel because I felt so, yeah, sick, or not sick, but exhausted. I was super tired, and I just wanted to get or get back to my hostel and sleep and recover. So yeah, I was just I went into the taxi and went straight back to the hostel. And when I arrived there, I think I was talking to the hostel owner and told him what happened. But after that, I first went straight to the bed and slept for a few hours. And then I remember that I woke up again in my hostel and checked my laptop, because I'm traveling with the laptop since I need to edit my travel videos. And when I opened my laptop, I saw all these emails, these email notifications of of the money transactions from PayPal and from my crypto exchanges. And yeah, what else? I don't know. Though there were 20, 30, or 40 emails in my
How much
inbox.
in total did they take via these transactions from you?
So first, it was difficult to calculate because what I did is, out of the shock reaction, I was contacting my bank, but at the moment, I don't know if I first called my family, if they did it for me, or if no. I was telling the story to, yeah, as I said, to the hostel owner, and I think they helped me out with giving me a phone and stuff like this. So it's still, again, very blurry. I don't really remember the order and what happened exactly, but I was contacting my bank after I saw these email notifications, and told them to freeze my bank account. And oh yeah, also you need your authentication app on the phone to log into your bank account. So I didn't have the chance to look into my bank account, but I saw definitely these PayPal transactions, and they are connected to my bank account. And I knew that they had my Visa debit card. So back to your question, what I was able to see were these crypto transactions, and I had 4 different kind of cryptocurrencies. I think I had the most money in Solana, if you maybe know, and then some Ripple and Polygon and Cardano, and all these cryptocurrencies combined are worth around 11,000 euros. And then I saw these PayPal transactions. I summed them up to like a amount of around 15,000 euros, or dollars, which I also put in the thumbnail of my video. But And now I know that it's actually even more, because I was contacting my bank and asked like how much money is left on my bank account, and they went into the debt with my bank account. So I had my travel budget, which was around 7,000 euros on my bank account, plus 1,000 euros in some shares, which I still have. But with so all the 7,000 euros are gone, plus 1,500 euros more, so like in debt. So I think now, if you would calculate everything together, it would be more like 20,000 euros.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to go back to, just before we continue, I want to go back to discussing the girls that you met via Tinder. Why did you feel that Tinder was a good medium to meet women here in Colombia, as opposed to, you're in Poblado, there are lots of Colombian girls, regular Colombian girls, which are
Yes.
walking up and down. Why did you feel that Tinder was a good medium?
Yeah.
And also, was the profile of the person, of the girls you met on Tinder, was it a verified profile?
Oh, good question. I don't remember if it was verified or not. I don't really look on this verification check mark, or how's it called. I cannot tell you, but the profile itself didn't look suspicious. It was like normal. And back to your other question, for me it felt normal because I was using dating apps constantly on my Central America trip, and as I said, it was like felt normal for me because I met a lot of great people through these dating apps, not just for dates, but also to hang around and, I don't know, talk to each other. And I felt it is a good way to meet people because it's more personal than going on the street and try to start a conversation with foreigners, because you never know if they have a boyfriend or want even talk to you.
It's less personal.
It's less personal. And then I also noticed quite quick here that there are a lot of prostitutes on the street here in Medellin, and I was not interested in sex meetup or like hookup, because for me there needs to be some personal connection before something happens.
Okay. Um, so whilst you were in the apartment with the girls, right? Did you take any photos, videos, like with these girls? Do you recall what were, because people say, with these kind of girls who have bad intent for a person, they really don't like to share their social details. They don't like taking pictures, photos, etc. Were you able to take any pictures or videos of these girls?
Yeah. So since I was in a quite good mood on that night, because I arrived only 2 days before this happened, and so it was like a fresh and new environment, and I felt quite cool, let's say, to meet some local girls like 2 days after I arrived here. So I was kind of proud, and I was sending a short video of the apartment, of the little house party, let's call it like this, to a good friend of mine, and a photo. But on the
Do you
photo,
have that?
yeah, I still have it. Yes.
Okay, so we'll put that up as part of this clip so that people can see. Okay, so you do have something of them, but it's not very clear. You've mentioned the picture.
Yeah, not really clear. Also, the video is quite blurry. You can obviously see the two girls, but not see a lot of details of their faces in this video. And it's only 6 seconds long. I just wanted to show my friend, like, oh, look how crazy I'm. Like, after 2 days, I'm here at a house party, let's say. Yeah.
Okay. So now let's fast forward back. Forward to where you stopped off. When you got back to your hostel, you slept for a couple of hours. You woke up. You checked your accounts. You realized that they drained money from your account. You got your banks to freeze everything. What happened next?
So it took me about 3 days to recover from the tiredness of this drug. But as soon as I felt relatively good again, I went to the hostel owner, and since he knew what happened, we went together to the police in El Poblado. It was just down the street, and I cannot really describe the location,
Yeah,
but
I know where it is.
it's not far
Yeah,
from the hostel. It's like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's down the street by the junction, the crossroads junction.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. There's this park, and then there's this little police station. We went together to the police station. I told them my story, or he helped me to translate to tell my story, and they didn't really seem to care. They just told me that I should report this to the Fiscalía General de la Nación, or maybe the other way around, I'm not sure. To the Fiscalía, yeah.
So when you say they didn't really care, because this is something I want to touch on, what was your experience like? If you can go into detail, your real true experience of dealing with them. When you say they didn't care, what was their attitude like?
I was telling my story, and the hostel owner was translating, and they were just the police officer. It was one police officer like in front of me, and he was like just standing there without any face expression, and he like stopped the conversation quite fast and said, report it to the Fiscalía. Like, we are not responsible for it. It gave me this feeling quite fast. And I mean, what I didn't continue to talk since he said I need to report it to the Fiscalía. It was like, okay, then I can go back and try to make my way to the Fiscalía, which was closed during the Christmas time. So I think I had to wait till the I don't remember. It was the Tuesday, but I don't remember the date. But this was the first day where they opened the Fiscalía again. And on that day, I was there.
And what was your experience at the Fiscalía?
At the Fiscalía, when I arrived there were a lot of people. It was already noon time, like around noon. A lot of people in the queue. Some police officers, but I had to wait quite a long time to get into the Fiscalía. And when I was in the Fiscalía, and since I went there with two people from my hostel, because it was a couple, and the guy was from Spain, so he was able to talk Spanish fluently, and they were so nice and like accompanied me to the Fiscalía. So she was not able to go in with me, only the guy, since he was my translator. And then after telling the story, they gave me an appointment for the next day in the morning at 7 a.m. So it took a long time to just get a note with the appointment for the next day.
Okay, so when you got this note and this appointment, what was discussed? You gave them details about what happened to you.
Yes.
What did the police say that they were going to do?
So first of all, it took a long time again on the next morning, because there was again a long queue. So I had to wait maybe 1 hour to get into the Fiscalía. Then they gave me a ticket, and I had to wait probably another hour to get to a table with a telephone. And they told me to dial in 122, and like a number, and they were connecting me to a English-speaking police officer. And then since he was filing my police report, I had to talk very slowly and describe everything with what happened in a very detailed way. And I noticed that I had to repeat myself a lot, and I tried to be as clear as possible, and I also offered him many times to repeat it. But somehow I had the feeling that he still made a lot of mistakes, even though I was saying, for example, my name letter by letter, or the name of the girl, which was Pamela, or she called herself Pamela. And he made a lot of mistakes, so I had to ask many times again, so did you write it down correctly, and should I repeat it for you? And then when it came to the description of the crypto transactions, I noticed that he didn't know what cryptocurrencies are, so I had to explain it to him that it's.
So overall, how would you rate your experience with the Colombian police and the Fiscalía on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is excellent and 1 is very poor?
I would say 3, because the good thing was that they told me that they will send me the police report on the same day, which didn't happen, but they sent it to me on the next day. So it was quite fast, I would say. Similar facilities in Germany would take even longer to get the report. But for example, I told him that I have this photo and this video of that night, and that I can provide it to the police, obviously. I mean, it would be helpful for them, but they didn't even care and didn't tell me to send it to them. So this was a bit weird to me, because as a police officer, you should take every hint that you get, and a video is quite valuable if you want to, I mean, to see and identify the persons.
Okay. So it's been very interesting listening to you, and, you know, to people who haven't seen, you describe what happened on your channel, because that's how you broke the news on your channel, Dr. Travel. I've read some of the comments, right, underneath that video, and many of the comments say, allude to the fact that you are naive, you don't know, you just didn't know, you don't speak. Do you speak Spanish, by the way?
I'm practicing and learning Spanish. I started practicing it with the app Duolingo when, I think, 2 weeks before I started my trip to Mexico. So I can have very basic conversations in Spanish. It's enough to order food and maybe open a conversation, but it doesn't go far beyond that so far. I'm still practicing, but at the moment without a phone I cannot continue, which is also kind of sad.
Okay, so many of the comments underneath that video say that you were naive, or you are naive, right? What is your response to that? Especially, sorry to cut you, when further on into the video you say that Colombia is still a great place, the people are great, the girls, you understood, you alluded to, you kind of understood why that happened. This made some of the people commenting under your video saying that you were naive. What is your response to that?
So it might be true in one way, since it was definitely my fault to not inform myself about the country and about Medellin before I came here. But what I can say to this point is that my whole Central America trip, which I did before, was not planned out at all. I just booked a one-way ticket to Cancun, and I booked the first 5 nights in a hotel or hostel. And that was it. And since then, my whole trip is very spontaneous, and I'm meeting other travelers that give me recommendations. And Central America is maybe different because you have a very clear route, because my plan was to go from north to the south. So since these are quite small countries, it's easy to know where to go next. And I think my mistake was that I came here with the same attitude, with the same travel lifestyle than before. And South America is way different because the countries are much bigger. There are way more options, and you, for example, in Central America, you meet a lot of travelers at other places again, since they're on the same route. And I think this will not happen quite often in South America, since there are so many options where to go, and the countries are much bigger. And now when I'm here, I can tell it, for me personally, it feels way more dangerous than in Central America.
Okay. You're still here in Medellin,
Yes.
right? Why are you still here?
So different reasons. I started off my YouTube channel, and I wanted to really.
I mean, why are you still here? Like, why, you've been drugged, you were robbed. Why haven't you left the country?
Yes, I think not a lot of people would think in the same way, but I didn't want to end my trip with a bad experience, because I had such a great experience in Central America. So for me, it felt wrong to stop everything, buy a airplane ticket, and then be back in Germany, since I don't have an apartment back in Germany. Of course, I could live at my family's place, but it was not planned like this. I wanted to see and discover South America, and yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So as you're still here in Medellin after being drugged and robbed, you have no money, you have no phone, you're sitting here speaking, doing an interview, Real Talk with Obi, right? After this interview, and you're walking down the street, right, going to wherever you're going, do you feel, do you have any security fears after what's happened to you? Do you now have fears for your safety? Do you, are you scared? Not scared, but can you feel that air of, I don't know the word, but a kind of darkness. Do you feel for your safety at all here, or your security?
I would say I'm not an anxious person in general. I'm quite brave, I would say. So not really. The first 2 or 3 days after this happened was really depressing, or felt depressing for me, because I was never in a situation like this, and obviously the damage is quite big, and being here without a phone is very difficult, without access to money, which I still don't really have because I don't have a new bank card. It is definitely not easy, but I don't feel in danger now. Maybe a little bit because I posted this video and it got quite a lot of traction. So what happened to me is that another traveler on the street recognized me from my video and talked to me and said, "Oh, I think I know you from this video." We had a small conversation. He was also a German guy, which was kind of funny, but of course I'm more cautious, let's say, and I don't put myself into the risk. I'm mainly staying at my place or in this area. I don't leave El Poblado, because without the phone, I don't have a way to navigate myself through the city, and I think it's not a good idea to do that at the moment. So I'm yeah, I was just staying at my hostel mainly and going out to have dinner. So um, yeah, I would say mentally I recovered quite fast from what happened, and physically I'm thankfully unharmed. So I think I can handle to continue my trip, and I would like to do it to, as I said, not end my whole trip with a bad experience, especially because it's winter time in Germany, and maybe not everyone thinks like me, but for as I'm not fully German, I'm like half Iranian. I always like or prefer sunny places, and the winter time is kind of depressing for me in Germany. It's very gray and cold, and I was thinking about this in my head of like returning back to Germany now after all this happened, and I felt like, okay, there are only problems waiting for me when I go back. I mean, obviously to clean up the mess with all this damage what happened, and then having no job, no apartment, and sitting in the cold and in the gray didn't yeah, seem to be a good move. So that's why I decided to stay here and at least continue my travel a little bit. And thankfully, I'm now able to do it with all these donations I got. And yeah, and then I don't have like big further plans right now, but in 5 days, a good friend of mine is visiting me here in Colombia, and he will bring me a new phone and a new bank card. So from that moment on, I will not be alone anymore, and we want to travel through Colombia for about 3 weeks, and after that, maybe I will return to Germany or continue my trip alone. I'm not sure yet.
Okay. We're almost coming to the end now. I just want to check your temperature regarding those girls and if you've really truly forgiven and forgotten. If you were to see that girl after this interview right now, you was to see the girl, Pamela's her name, right?
Yeah.
If you were to see the lady who drugged you and robbed you of 15,000 euros as you're leaving this apartment studio,
Yes.
right? What would you do? What would be your reaction?
I think since it's a girl and I feel in I feel like being stronger than her, I would try to catch her and take her to like, or call the police, or like yeah, try to mm, stop her, and
How would you stop her?
I think I would like try to grab her, something like that. I'm not a violent person. I wouldn't punch her or something, but I would try to catch her and maybe tell people around that she's a criminal and that they should call the police, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Now, with all the experiences you've had, negative and positive, you've had here in Medellin in Colombia, and also given the fact, I don't know if you're aware, this month alone, there've been, I think, four people have lost their lives. Four tourists have lost their lives here in Medellin. So with the climate of what is happening in Medellin, so many robberies, people getting shot, people getting murdered, people being drugged. What is your opinion of Medellin, and would you still recommend it to tourists and other people who are back home in Germany, in the United States, in England,
Yeah.
wherever, Australia, Canada? Would you still recommend that they come here to Medellin to visit this place?
I would say definitely don't come here with the thought of meeting girls like easily here through dating apps. I think that's a fake image, to be honest. Maybe also a trap of the criminals to bring tourists here. I don't know. But since I'm staying here for 2 weeks already, I had the chance to see a lot of places in El Poblado. I think it has very nice restaurants and clubs, and very vibrant nightlife. That's pretty cool, and it's still for Europeans or people from the first world. It's still quite cheap here, to be honest. So you can have really nice food and drinks for for low prices compared to Europe or the US. Um, and I think when you inform yourself and really don't come here being naive like me, it is relatively safe when you know what you're doing and when you know where to take care of. Or yeah, so for example, walking around with your phone with your phone and all the crypto exchange applications installed was yeah, it's not I wouldn't recommend it. So if you inform yourself and take some actions before you come here, like regarding safety, I think I would still recommend. Nah, I don't know. You can still come here. I wouldn't. What's the opposite of recommend? Like,
Um, actually,
I wouldn't say don't come here. It's, you need to know what to expect from this place, but yeah, it is definitely dangerous, and you should take care. And if you do so, you can still enjoy the city, I would say.
okay. So, given your experience, right, with what's happened, are you still going to be looking for love here in Colombia?
No, definitely not. I think, especially for Colombia, I wouldn't, with my new phone, I wouldn't install another dating app, since I think it's just not the right country to meet people or girls online, to be honest. And if I would do it in another country of South America, I would inform myself before doing it or before using these applications. So no, to be honest, I think from what I noticed here, they're mainly like girls that look hot on the street are mainly prostitutes. And then since you're not able to use dating apps to get to know girls, I think it's quite hard. And this fake image that Colombian girls love foreigners or love to meet foreigners is not true, I think. I mean, there are probably a few that would like to meet foreigners, but not in the way it is described in the internet or on other YouTube videos, or what you hear from other people. I don't know. Um,
Okay, that's excellent. Dr. Travel, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. This is Real Talk with Obi. I wish you all the best. Best of luck here
Thank you.
in Medellin, Colombia, and your future travels. Really sorry about what happened to you, but hopefully you've learned from it, and from this conversation, people who are watching will also learn from what's happened to you. And going forward, hope that you move, more intelligently, smartly. Smarter, should I say, and people who are watching this video who are thinking of coming to Colombia or Medellin are informed from your story, and they can make better and wiser decisions based off your experience, unfortunately. But thank you very much for your time and help. It's been great speaking to you. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the audience or the viewers, your YouTube channel, or anything you want to say?
I don't think so. No, no. I will continue with my travel vlogs probably when my friend arrives, and I still have some footage from Nicaragua left, which I would like to post soon. But unluckily, a lot of my footage from Nicaragua, which was a beautiful country, by the way, is lost since it was on my phone. But yeah, I really thank you for the interview, and was a lot of fun. Thanks a lot.
Perfect. Okay. Have a great day and Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Happy New Year.
Cheers. Bye.